and welcome to the latest episode of In Bed with Books. Today I am joined by author and creative writer Jodie Kennedy, whose book Clumsy Beauty is now out. Can you introduce yourself a little bit?
Yeah. So anybody that follows me on Instagram will know me as JK Kennedy. And I don't even think I've ever said this on my Instagram before, but my name is Jodie. For those of you who might listen to this and you don't know my name yet, I really need to do an intro on Instagram. I am an accidental creative writer. I started writing a couple of years ago during a particularly shitty time in my life, and fast forward 2 years to today, October 1st, and Clumsy Beauty, my debut poetry collection, was released. So that's kind of where I'm from.
Nice, nice. I do respect the rough time leading to writing habit, leading to book. I love that little pathway there.
Yeah, I mean, it was so lucky though. Like it
Yeah.
was like I mean, I know that this is like a 1 in a 2 billion chance that I got to do this.
Mhm.
But yeah, it was a couple of years ago. We had a lot of my husband and I had a lot of rough stuff going on around us, and I I am prone to falling into unhealthy habits.
Okay.
I shop my feelings away or cry them away
Oh my God,
or
same.
y- drink them away. I'm like, oh yeah. And I knew during that time I was like, it would be very easy for me to fall into a very unhealthy lifestyle right now.
Mhm.
So instead of going that direction, I decided that I needed a healthy habit. And I wrote a lot as a kid and I loved it. And then there's like this 20-year time period where you grow up and you get a career and you do
Yeah.
all this stuff and you kind of lose that a little bit. And I completely lost it. I hadn't written a thing in 20 years.
Hmm.
And then I started creative writing, and it was an outlet for me and somewhere to put I'm like jamming my anxiety into the writing.
Yeah. It's nice to like
And
externalize it to like set it somewhere else for a little bit.
oh, put that shit away,
Yeah.
man. Yeah,
Yeah.
put it somewhere else. And I just got incredibly lucky that it most people in a situation like that might get a therapist, and I opened an Instagram account. And I know how lucky it is that that Instagram account grew, and then somehow 2 years later I'm sitting here with this beautiful book in front of
It
me.
is,
So
it's gorgeous. Like this,
I
it's
mean,
shiny. I love that I'm sitting in front of the window
okay,
so I can show you just how like gorgeous this inlay is.
so we have to her and I don't want to butcher her name. I think I say it right. It's Jessica Benhar.
Okay.
She's her handle on Instagram is harkenback.
Okay.
She is a wizard. She is, I mean, I it was so this process was actually a lot of fun because the creative team at my publisher was like, all right, we got to work on the cover. Send us some artists you like. Send us some ideas that you like. Send us some art from around your house. And like, I have very weird taste. Um, but like for some reason, I saw my. Okay, are you a Lord of the Rings?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I love you. Yes. Okay. So I love Ents. Like
Oh my God. Yes.
Ents are my jam.
Yes.
And so so I it was just a one line. It was like in interests or like what you like, and all I wrote was Ents. And like a month later, I got this image back,
Oh, that's
and I was like,
beautiful.
I have an Ent on my book.
You
So
found
it
the
was,
Entwives.
oh my gosh, yes, I'm like, it's like it was so dreamy. It was like she somehow, with very little information, climbed inside my brain and
Nice.
was able to totally nail the cover. And I got so lucky to find her and her total expertise. She's one of those artists that I to be honest with you, I don't even know what it is. have you seen the people that like it's like carving? They
Yes,
like kind of
yes. I
carve and
actually
it's
have a
like a
friend
stamp.
from high school who used to do, or who still does that. Yeah.
Yes, that's what she does, and she
Yes.
creates these incredible things. Anyway,
Wow.
this is where so the grooves, or like most of the grooves on the book, that's where that's where like the gold Philly stuff is.
Hmm.
I don't know what you call that, gold, whatever it is. Anyway, yeah,
And
it's a dreamy cover.
this right
Oh
here,
my!
when I saw that, I was like, oh,
I'm
okay,
like,
yes.
I I remember the publisher emailing, and he was like, "Hey, I got the okay to add a." This is how clueless I am. He was like, "We got a ribbon or whatever the name, like actual name for it
Hmm.
is, like a ribbon marker, or whatever it is." Uh, and I remember being like, "Oh my gosh, they're gonna wrap every book with a ribbon? Like what like that seems like extraordinary, but like I very fancy." And then finally realized that, oh my gosh, I have a ribbon bookmark on the I know. It's very precious.
It's
I love it.
awesome. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so that's the kind of the background story for the design. And again, I was clueless through this entire process, and a huge thank you to my publisher that held my hand through the whole way, because I was a nervous wreck. I
Hmm.
mean, half the time after they asked me to write the book, I was convinced that it was like an elaborate practical joke that they were
Yeah.
playing on me. And then I start to see the drafts come in, and they asked me for the bio and the author's note and just this and that, like things kept streaming. And every time it just made it more and more real. And that seems like forever ago, but October 1 came and went, and now it's released out into the world. And for the past couple of weeks, I'm sorry, am I rambling?
No, you're
I
I
do that.
mean,
So you have to stop
we're
me.
interviewing you. Like that's what's happening. So you're supposed to talk. It's okay.
This is my second podcast, and I'm terrified of them, but you're wonderful and so
Oh,
easy
thank
to
you.
talk to. So thank you so much. Um, but yeah, for the last couple of weeks, I've been calling this list of independent bookstores that they got the book into. So, and being like, "Hi, you have a book that I wrote. Can you take a picture so I can post it to my Instagram?" Then these people, I guess it just doesn't sound like a lot of people do that, but it's been really fun to talk to the stores that
That's
actually have
exciting.
it.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's I know I'm like a kid in a candy store every day, so it's very fun.
Yeah, I mean, I also think about the fact that like they reached out to you, the publishers, because your Instagram, like the content and everything, and that was taking off.
Yeah, and that's why I thought it was a scam.
Okay. I mean, that's understandable.
I
It
had,
is.
so I had a good amount of followers. Like I had like a bunch, but like I was still just I'm having fun. Like
Hmm.
I'm writing, I'm spewing my weird neuroses down to the internet, and I'm
Yeah.
not really taking it seriously. And then I get an email from Inside Editions and this and that, and we're interested in making a book with you. And I think I wrote back something snarky like, "Well, how much is this going to cost me? And what is like?" I didn't take it seriously, and
Yeah.
they were like, "No, that's not how this works. We pay you." And I was like, "What?" So yeah, it's yeah. So it started with Instagram. Somebody at the publisher found my account,
Nice.
and I think, from what I understand, thought that it was relatable and approachable. I
Hmm.
think were the two words and for everyone, it, poetry can be intimidating.
Yeah. Yeah.
People think it's complicated or too deep, and sometimes maybe you don't want to be reading about like romantic love or
Hmm.
about like a description of nature and stuff like that. And uh, I don't really do that. I kind of focus on not those topics necessarily. So I think that a comment I get a lot is, "I'm not into poetry, but I can read this." Like I like this, and I feel the same as some of these things. And I'm like, okay, that's huge.
Yeah, I think like I was definitely one of those people who didn't really vibe with poetry. And it's not like I think because my only engagement with poetry up until like quite recently was just in school. And that's a very different relationship to have with
Well,
poetry.
Yeah, you're reading about like Shakespeare, like Beowulf and stuff, and
Yeah,
it's just like, what are they saying?
and
Yeah.
sometimes it's like I get that, like, Robert Frost isn't just talking about like a fork in the road, but also like if I need to know this much context to understand, I feel like that poetry is just not within my like sphere.
Right.
But reading this and like reading Lindsay Rush's a bit much, I
Yes.
think the genre of poetry I'm finding that I like is women letting themselves be big and letting themselves be cringe and letting themselves feel big. And I think that's just so beautiful. Like it is romantic, but like in a different, like in the not love romantic kind of sense, but in the like loving yourself kind of romantic kind of way.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
I think that there is, and I don't know what I'm talking about, but I think that right now there is kind of a renaissance of people who started creative writing, and started uh, on Instagram or on TikTok or
Hmm.
whatever it is, and it's different. It's really I don't know. There's different voices out there right now that are so relatable, and sometimes it's just like I read little tidbits on Instagram all the time that I'm just like, oh my gosh, it's
Hmm.
just like bro, like I know this feeling, I know it,
Yeah.
and that's so important right now, in my opinion, when people feel so separate from each other, and we're
Yes.
being
Yes.
led to believe that like we're all so different.
It's
And
validating, especially like on social media where like we don't necessarily acknowledge the fact that like it is very isolating, even though you're in a community. It's like it doesn't give the important like physical aspect of community.
yeah, and on that note, social media it's doing a better job now, but has historically promoted the picture of perfection.
Yeah.
And now I think we're finally getting around and seeing some people that are able to express that our ick and
Hmm.
our anxiety and our isms and our imperfections. That's who we are, and that's who everybody else is, and that is, what we can embrace in each other,
Hmm.
basically.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I like that. I think especially like times are hard all across the board.
Yeah,
And so to know that you're not alone in some of those feelings, because it's like, an event that normally, maybe 5, 6 years ago wouldn't have affected you the same way is not gonna just pass you by now. It's, we're just
yeah,
adding it to the pile. And if the
yeah.
pile can be shared a little bit, it makes it a lot easier to bear.
Oh my gosh, agreed.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just nice. I mean, the amount of people that reach out and are, in a DM or in a comment or whatever, and it's just like, oh my gosh, I thought I was the only one that had this thought, or
Hmm.
thought like, it's so awesome. And I'm like a weirdo, so when people like follow me, like I'll still click on your profile, like I'll still, and there's some people that I know that I maybe don't have a ton in common with, but they're on there sharing a thought that I had.
Hmm.
And that's huge. And now that there's like a physical manifestation of all this, not all, but some of the writing I've been doing, that people are sitting down with, and they're just like, it's nice to just open this up and feel and be able to relate to something.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's been glorious
I think
to hear that.
especially like reading back to back these two books, I feel like it's the kind of like connective tissue um because poems like just kind of exist, like we don't see the context. You have to either know the context or feel the context. And so I
Yeah,
think because they exist like these little chunks of feelings, it is really this kind of like connective tissue between communities if they're engaging with the same content, of course.
I love
Because
that.
yeah, because they it offers a way to see a connection where maybe there wasn't one before, or where you weren't acknowledging or seeing the one before, which I think we need more of.
I'm stealing connective tissue from
Okay.
you. That's
Okay.
that's brilliant. I love the way you put that. So yes, that's profound.
Well,
So
thank you.
absolutely.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So I do want to ask specifically, what was the, I guess, how did you manage? Okay. Because you said that you started by like in the about writing your emotions and kind of trying to get down thoughts and just making sure that you're writing once a day. Did that start as poetry?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, no. I'm still hesitant to call what I do poetry.
Okay.
I know that people are like very protective of what poetry is, and I think that maybe the definition is changing a little bit, and people are coming around to the fact that maybe it doesn't have to be very long or this and that,
Hmm.
whatever terms you have for poetry. Um, uh, but I think I just started by it. Okay, I'm a rambler, so I've already said that once. So my job or my challenge for myself when I started writing was just to get to the fucking point. Like
Nice. Yeah.
that's why everything I write is very short. It's like, how can I smush as much into this little blurb, this little nugget of writing as I possibly can? Um, so they just ended up being short, but I don't think that I was ever like, this is poetry.
Okay.
It's
Yeah.
just like, I need to just get my fucking point across. I need to just say, because that's how the like big emotions sometimes come out
Hmm.
is a bleh.
Yeah.
And that's kind of that's what my poems are. They're, just me hacking something up that, needs to come out, basically.
Nice. Yeah. I like that. Like a word vomit.
Yes,
Yeah.
it precisely. Yes.
Nice. Okay. Um, so then I would assume that it's very, again, I'm going to use the word validating. It's very validating then for this not only to take off on Instagram where, because like I do social media for my job, and I understand like the algorithm giveth, the
Oh, it's a
algorithm taketh,
bitch.
like yeah.
It's it it crushes my soul every day. I actually just the last few days have been having a pep talk with myself about that because I have now tied too much to the algorithm. I've
Yeah.
given the algorithm too much power. I have too much of my happiness and my, like you said, valid self
Hmm.
worth is tied to that, and it is smoking me right now. It is.
It's
I
it's
mean, it's.
rough right now out
Oh
there.
my
Like
god.
they I say they as like, capital T, whoever is in charge of it with Instagram. I don't know what they do and I don't
I
intend to
know.
know, but I will say like the I think the publishers reaching out is like a big kind of support in that like you don't have to have 100,000 followers or 200,000 followers for that to be recognized, because I think
Yeah.
that's also an issue with like book talk right now and with publishing in general is some publishers are reaching out or like they're being queried and everything, and you hear about it a lot where it's like, well, we need you to have 10K followers. It's like, well, first of all, that's not relevant at all. Like that's
Uh,
supposed to be your job as the publisher, as like
yeah.
the publicity, whatever. Um, and so I think even in those moments then where it would have seemed like maybe the community is small, it's like it's small, but it's powerful.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know what? Okay. So just back to Instagram really quick. And I hate you right now, Instagram, but that's okay because this is how I got here. So I can't totally hate it, but I'm mad at it right now. I don't know if you're on Threads, but the
Oh yeah.
introduction of Threads really, I love Threads.
Yeah.
Like, Threads is such a happy place. That and I don't know what I've tapped into, but it is I think a independent like a self-published
Hmm.
group of authors, and that's huge for people right now.
Yeah.
And people are doing awesome with it.
Yeah.
Uh, the amount of people I see on there that are that uh, wrote their content and then designed it and like had it created and are selling it on Amazon and are managing their sales and all that stuff. It blows me away, and it's so hopeful. It's so awesome, that community exists and is thriving right now. Like,
Yeah.
so kind of, you don't need a publisher. I'm so lucky and privileged that I got this chance, and I
Hmm.
keep telling myself this might be the one and only time that this happens. So as a person that fast forwards through my entire life and can't wait for the next thing and can't wait for the next thing, I've had to totally slow down and be like, savor every moment of this because it
Yeah.
may not happen again.
I mean, I think that's also just a very reasonable response because even people who, spend their entire lives wanting to publish a book, if you go in and you're like, well, then I'll just publish the next one. It's like, you don't understand actually
Yeah,
how,
you don't know that.
yeah, exactly. Like it's not, unless you
Yeah,
signed a multi-book deal, that is not confirmed.
I know, I know. So I have my fingers crossed that, it does. But you know what? I'm doing the stuff that I can do right now, and I hired
Yeah.
my awesome publicist that I think who set me up with you, and
Yeah.
I'm doing. I'll know at the end of this whole episode that I did as much as I could do to make it work.
Hmm.
And that's enough for me at the end of the day. And as
Hmm.
long as this thing is circulating out there, like every one of those tiny, how people on like street corners have those, it's like free library and it's
Yeah.
like a box, like on a pole. I put one in every single one of those I see.
Nice.
So
Nice.
it's just I'm going to spend the foreseeable future just guerrilla marketing and
Yeah.
trying to spread the good word. So,
That's fair. That's fair. And I think I like to think about like books as little babies.
oh yeah.
And it's like sometimes you got an only child, and that's okay. And you're really
Yeah.
proud of this only child.
Totally. 100%. Yeah. And if there's a number, and if there's a two, then maybe it's like an accident, like an oops baby, and
Yeah.
it comes along when it comes along, and I'll look forward to that if that happens. But like I am feeling such deep contentment right now with
That's beautiful. Yeah.
just having this out there that like I can't even think about that right now because I'm so here and just drilling into what I can do to make Clumsy Beauty a success, basically. Like
Yeah.
begging for Amazon reviews, which I hate
Yeah.
doing. I'm like, why do we have to do this? I don't understand. And I don't like going on my Instagram. I was not present at all on my Instagram for a year and a half of the 2 years. And now all of a sudden I have to go on and like talk and stuff. And I'm like, I saw a post the other day that was like, why do we have to do the thing that we do and then also be a social media
Yeah.
personality? And I'm
Hmm.
like, oh,
Yep.
and I'm a terrible one. So I'm like, crap. Like I'm not, I don't think this is my jam, but I'm giving it a shot. It's a Hail Mary, but I'm gonna throw my face and voice up there occasionally just to beg people to go to Amazon and
Yeah.
say something nice.
And it's stressful because so like I do social media for work, but I do it for other clients. And so like the podcast social media, I'm like, I'm not stressing myself out with this because I can't. I like emotionally I can't do
I
it.
can't.
Yeah.
Yes, that's real,
Yeah.
man. That is, yeah, the stress of that and the pressure. And then as soon as you do get something going, like, how do I nurture this? And how do I,
Hmm.
and am I gonna turn people away if I do this other thing or go in this different direction? It's a mess. It really fucks with your mind,
Yeah.
and it has fucked with my mind. And I'm trying to find that good balance. But sometimes you just have to just flip the table over and just
Yeah.
be like, all right, this is what we're doing now. And so
Yeah.
that's kind of where I'm at right
I will
now.
say though as well, like in building your account, Instagram, I can't speak to it now because again, something's up with the algorithm. Things are
Yeah.
shifting. But Instagram has always really favored like authentic quality content because that's what people engage with without realizing it more. So I think the fact that you were even able to build that with something that you were just like, well, I'm just, you know, I'm just vibing, I'm just doing my deal. And then people
Well,
came.
yeah, well, and it, I guess I'm beating the odds right now because I don't do reels. Look,
That
I've
is
tried,
that
like
is aggressively beating the odds. Yes.
I know. I'm like, I am just, you know, everything that I should be doing, everything that everybody says, oh, this is what's working on Instagram right now. This is how you find new people. This is how you reach new eyeballs. I'm not doing any of that.
Yeah.
And I think I might have to pivot or I might have to try, but I'm just because I'm posting just the square, just it's the picture and there's no music and it doesn't move. And so just the fact that it's doing anything is a miracle
Yeah.
kind of. Yeah.
Honestly. And I think the problem with people like that though who are doing the like this is what Instagram wants or something is like Instagram just wants engagement. If like on the whole those things are doing engagement, that's not the only way to get engagement.
Right.
Yeah.
And then you're chasing this mythical fucking creature, the
Yes.
algorithm that like you're never gonna catch. You're never going to do exactly what it wants you to do in the moment. So you're always chasing it. And I'm like, I'm not fucking doing
It's like
this. I
smoke
can't. I
because
can't.
you kind of
Yeah.
get your fingers around it and it just boop.
It's like in Lost. It's the
Yeah.
smoke monster in Lost
Yeah.
that is terrorizing the town. But yes, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So then what did in moving from posting this, doing things on Instagram, how did it look when you got the offer and you realized that you were making a book? What did that shift look like?
Um, the shift in writing or the
Yeah,
shift
in
just
writing
to
or if it was like, yeah, I guess in writing.
um I have tried really hard to not change anything I'm doing because if I
Okay.
was lucky, I know, isn't that horrible? I'm
But
such a
also perfect. They
caveman.
they
I'm like
offered it to you this way.
I am doing okay, wait, I guess I will say this. Back during when I first started writing when I was going through a really difficult time, my poetry didn't look like this.
Okay.
It was um some of it was shameful and like full of really hard dark feelings. And if you scroll all the way back in my Instagram page, like you'll find the weird shit. Like you'll
Hmm.
find the like I was in a dark place while writing this. But as time went on and things were healing themselves, I got a more positive voice. And I kind of uh, not played on that, not wasn't trying to please anybody that was on the page, was following the page, but it just kind of naturally got more positive and uplifting.
Hmm.
Um, so it was funny when they first reached out about the book. They're like, okay, send us what poems you think you want in there, and I added some of my darkness
Yeah.
to the list, and it was funny. Like it immediately came back, and it was like, okay, not this one, maybe, not this one, maybe, and it was all kind of that early
Okay.
poetry, which is totally fine.
Yeah.
I understand that the book was designed to be a gift
Hmm.
from the cover, from the collection itself, how it's organized, what it says, what the themes are. When it was released, October 1st, it was always meant to be released on October 1st, be beautiful, be approachable and lovable for the masses and be a gift for people.
Hmm.
It is supposed to be a stocking stuffer, or a graduation present or whatever.
Hmm.
So I guess the poetry got more was positive by the time I got the offer, but it was a little darker way back then. But I think I continued with a more positive tone,
Hmm.
I think.
Hmm.
So that hasn't changed in any respect.
And I also, so like the subtitle on this is Poems for Hearing the I Love You and everything. And so I like that you keep it positive because then it's like you're able to go in here and you can just open to a page and just see something softer, beautiful, something to pull you out if you are feeling like that.
Yeah, 100%. So Clumsy Beauty is the title of a poem, and the I Love You and Everything is also the title of a
Hmm.
poem. So they're both in here somewhere. I don't know what the pages are, but so those are both titles. But I think that the for hearing the I Love You and Everything is definitely a theme that I have felt on a 2 year healing journey to come to being more positive, seeing the world in a different light, being able to walk outside and change my mood like immediately.
Hmm.
Interacting with the world in a different way is kind of the takeaway. We all have shit going on. We all have hard times and stuff. And there is a way to kind of flip those, to not sink in those feelings, but to be lifted by those feelings,
Yeah.
kind of an alchemy that is like turning that stuff into something else.
Hmm.
As soon as I gave my anxiety a pen, it it turns into creativity. It
Yeah.
it has somewhere to go, like we touched on earlier. Um, and not that I, give like tips about that in the book, but that's kind of what this is. It
Yeah.
is it's alchemizing your world basically.
And I love the way, like that term, like alchemy, like alchemizing it, because that is, I think, like a, a direct result of sharing these kinds of emotions is allowing somebody else to engage in that.
Oh my gosh, totally.
And I
Yeah.
think a lot about the fact that our brains don't know the difference between like real and fiction in terms of like our bodily response to it, which is why, for example, when you're watching, let's say, Lord of the Rings, when like the last march of the Ents is about to happen, you tear
Oh,
up, or when the Riders of Rohan show up in,
oh my gosh.
yes, in Return of the King, you tear up because
I'm like sweating and shaking right now just hearing you say those words. Yes,
exactly, there's
I
like
know that
there's a
feeling.
visceral response. And so thinking about that in terms of poetry is if you're engaging with somebody's ability to move through a similar emotion as you to like get on the other side, then you're able to like see kind of the other side of what you're feeling.
Yeah. And believe that it's there.
Yes, yes.
The believing is such a huge part of
Hmm.
it. And because I didn't believe it for a while. I didn't think that there was an end in sight. I was ready to, just kind of surrender to the shit. And then yeah, I started, through a bunch of different things, whether it was the publisher reaching out or, just interacting with people on Instagram or whatever it was, you start to see the light at the end of the tunnel kind
Yeah.
of, and, believing that you're going to get there. So yeah, that's definitely some powerful stuff.
And not to bring it back to Lord of the Rings,
Oh,
but
please do.
that's also like an integral part of, this big grand story of good versus evil is just it's the small things. It's the brotherhood between the fellowship and it's,
Oh my gosh.
Frodo and
Yeah.
Sam's love for each other that helps them complete
Oh,
what they need to do. It helps them move to the other side after things are done for some. Um
I still think they should have kissed at some point in the movie, but I mean, that's
I
neither here nor
I
there.
agree. I love when Sean Astin was like in interview and he was like, "What makes you think they didn't?"
Oh, okay. All right. I know. Well, we all imagined it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like
So,
they're
so it
sitting
is there,
outside
but
of a
it isn't.
destroyed Mount Doom.
Yes, they don't have to show us. They don't
Yeah.
have to show, and that's the beauty of it. It's like, oh my gosh, I knew that they were in love.
Yeah.
That's good. That's okay. Yeah.
Yeah. It's beautiful. Um, okay. So then in that same sense, the structure, you've got like four parts to this. It goes behold, unravel, reveal, and amplify. And I loved, so they all kind of like had a kind of theme to it, and I'm very influenced by titles. by like the names of things. And so part of me is like, am I seeing this because of the header of this section is behold, but it really felt like a blooming.
And it's so cool that you just said that because Clumsy Beauty is a poem that I wrote about um a, a peony
Yes.
um and the clum but I also use it's the I was physically looking at a peony blooming, but I likened that to kind of opening up your consciousness
Hmm.
a little bit, and how your consciousness is this infinite bloom bobbing on the wind. And so yeah, that is it is it's blooming. You nailed it. Hit nail on the head here.
Thanks. 10
So
points.
yes, li- literally the title of the book is about a poem about blooming. So I think that and blooming isn't fucking beautiful for most of us. I don't think. I think it's hard and it's
Yeah.
ugly and it's a getting naked, and it's putting yourself out there, and
Hmm.
it's like it's vulnerable, and it's so yeah. I also love to just make sure I mention that, like, blooming isn't always this pretty thing. Sometimes it's fucking
Well,
awful.
like I think about like also like butterflies, they turn to mush and then they emerge out of that, or like the image of the phoenix completely
Mhm.
burns down and is reborn from the ashes. So it's like sometimes this kind of experience comes from a very far low.
Yeah, you gotta die a little, man. You
Yeah.
gotta, yeah,
Mhm.
and you have to let parts of yourself die, and that's wicked
Mhm.
because I think most of us are clinging to the very few things that we know in the world, and a lot of those things are about ourselves or what we think we know, and then we're like, oh, maybe I thought this thing that isn't actually true, and then you're like, oh no, who am I? Like, and it's a
Yes.
mess.
Yes.
It's a mess. So yeah, it is messy, and there's a lot of poems about the messiness and about the just that it is the human stuff is not glamorous. The real stuff, the true stuff,
Hmm.
about ourselves and each other and our relationships with each other and the world, are can be gruesome and messy, and but I tried to poke at that without getting putting too much of the ick in there,
Yeah.
but yeah, you nailed it. That's kind of the book in a nutshell for sure.
Well, and I like that even on the poems where like you're touching on that, there's this like positive shift at the end, or this like, like the light at the end of the tunnel. It's like, yes, this exists, but it also exists with this.
Yeah, I mean, the duality of most things.
Hmm.
One thing can transition into another thing, sometimes easily if you let it. I don't know if that makes sense. I am thinking about this weird book on hermeticism that I read a few months ago. But anyway,
Nice. Okay, yeah.
again that the alchemy of turning one thing into another thing,
Hmm.
and and the two sides of stuff exist at the same time. And now I'm just going down a rabbit hole of stuff. But yes, that I do try to, I think, wrap each one up in a positive light
Hmm.
for most of them, at least, for
Hmm.
sure.
And I like that you call it an alchemy, because I think like by having it all be positive, you do run the risk of it like falling within like the toxic positivity.
Bleh, oh, hate
Yeah,
it.
but and that's the thing, is like you're acknowledging like this grossness or this like muck and shadow and whatever, and being like, but it's not that that doesn't exist. It's that like things change, things shift.
Yeah, and it's a balance. Yeah,
Yeah.
the toxic positivity stuff is just like, oh my gosh, just beating my head against a wall. I'm like, I don't, I can't do it. The live, love, laugh stuff. I can't do
Yeah.
the. I
No.
get,
No.
it's not for me.
No. It just feels like it felt empty before, but now even it's just like
I
that
know.
doesn't
I
it just
know.
doesn't hit. It doesn't do anything.
No, no, it's kind of a joke now.
Yeah.
But and I feel guilty about that because I know it does bring some people joy and I don't want to knock on anybody's joy. So but yeah, there definitely is. I try to be real about stuff.
Hmm.
It's not out all rainbows and sunshine.
Yeah.
There is we gotta have a balance here of
Yeah.
like being real but also like just being hopeful is like a very punk thing to do
Yeah.
right now, I
Yes,
think.
absolutely. And I think you like you just can't let yourself get stuck in the muck is the issue. Is like you have to
Yeah,
feel it and then, externalize it somehow, either writing it or reading it even. Like reading that muck is also a way to like, fuck this, and then be able to walk away.
and talk about connective tissue. That's how, I mean, my old ass is like, that's how I make friends now, is like, oh, you had this shit thing happen to you. Like, me too,
Yeah.
like that. And like referring back to, like I'm not bonding with anybody over this like cool vacation I took or,
Hmm.
like whatever. It's always like oh man, you had a boss that did that to you, or you had a crap boyfriend, or you had
Hmm.
that is the connective tissue. Like that is kind of what is, it's like the only thing holding us together anymore,
Yeah.
actually.
Well, and it's because it's like a confirmation that when something similar or the same thing arises again, you know that that person can help you.
Totally. And has been through something.
Yeah.
Like people that pretend maybe that they're happy all the time or they have like a charmed life and stuff like that is like, what could you possibly have in common
Yeah.
with that person? And how am I gonna, how is Susie Sunshine gonna help me with like my, like panic attack today? Like
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
know.
I don't think she's ever known what that was. Yeah. Yeah. And yeah, I think connective tissue, that alchemy, those two things together, I think that is essential for community building
Yeah.
in our current like technological age.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. Yeah.
Um, I think that's one of the things that really psychs me out about social media when I think a little too hard about it, which is why I try not to, is just like how disconnected people can be from the fact that there's like another person on the other side. Because you see some really cruel stuff on the internet. I'm like, do you not realize like, or do you? Like, I
There's
don't know what's worse. Are you dumb or are you cruel?
I think it's just like a horrible Frankenstein of
Yes, yes.
trauma. It's like trauma and insecurity and feeling it's those people that are the Frankensteins of all those things that are on there just being like, maybe this will make me feel better.
Yeah.
Like maybe this will maybe I'll feel some validation in saying or something like that. And it's just hurt people, man.
Yeah.
It is, I know it's overused, but hurt people. And it's
But it's
just
true.
and it no, it is it's terribly true.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's I I am so lucky. I was actually thinking about this the other day. I'm so lucky that I think I can count on one, maybe at another, maybe two hands, the amount of trolls that have come to my
Oh
page
yeah, I'm
to be
sure.
like, this writing is shit.
Some
This isn't
people
poetry, like that kind of stuff.
some
And
people are
I'm
just so threatened by openness.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes people see somebody that is whole or who
Hmm.
feels whole or projects themselves as whole, and that's very, yeah, threatening
Hmm.
and scary and needs to be torn apart because they don't even know what that, maybe they think, oh, this person is, too confident and is like toxically confident or something like that,
Hmm.
but it's no, it's like, no, maybe they're just whole and they're just like
Yeah.
able to say a feeling, and I'm sorry that you can't. I truly am, and I hope that you learn to
Yes.
one day. But yeah, that is a lot of the stuff. most of the time it just makes me feel bad for the person, even though
Yeah.
that in it, even saying that makes me sound, I don't want to sound condescending when I say that.
But
I'm like,
it's
I
I
truly hope you find what you're looking for, and I
yes,
truly hope that you heal one day.
I think it that emotion can get misconstrued because I understand it's like sometimes you look at a person and you're like, "Oh, you don't like that about somebody else because you're lacking it." And it's really
Yeah,
sad that like somebody's confidence or somebody's like happiness or somebody's X, Y, or Z positive thing feels like a threat to you.
frightens you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I know it's sad, and that is the world. That is social
Hmm.
media. That's
Yeah.
totally, yeah. But there are positive things too.
Yeah,
There
because then,
are it's the good
because
and bad.
then you're also able to make connections with people writing poetry that feels like it's speaking to you.
Yes, and not literally 99.9% of the people that I interact with on Instagram are just kind and supportive and
Hmm.
lovely and hopeful and just awesome folks. And it's a tiny, tiny fraction, at least on my page, which I'm so thankful for, of boogers that, kind of come out of the
Yeah.
woodwork and are like, this is trash. And I'm like, well, don't look at it then. I don't
Yeah. Look
know.
away. It's okay. You can just
Yeah,
scroll.
just
It's fine.
keep
Yeah.
scrolling.
I like, I think again, that goes back to like the authenticity of your content and what you're putting out because it's hard to build communities like that where they're generally very positive.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say incredible. I mean, you almost can't find, even if you're scrolling on like random stuff that's not on your feed, whether it's in like Explore or something, it's hard to find a post that you see randomly that you open the comments and there isn't immediately a negative
Yes.
comment.
Yes.
It's like every single one.
Yeah.
So it's
Well,
definitely
I
out
also
there, but
found out that Instagram will only show you things related to like what you engage with in terms of like the actual comments themselves. And so you can look at the
oh,
same post to somebody, pull up the comments, and it'll be the
oh, and it'll
negative
show you something
in
different.
your sphere. Whereas if you send it to somebody whose like interests according to Instagram look different, it'll show the negative in their sphere. So like for example, there's always posts like shaming moms or shaming, wives or husbands or whatever. Um, and if you send it to a woman, if it's like a couple's one, let's say, for example, like rage bait, kind of like that's what I'm thinking of. If you
Yes,
send it to
yes.
a woman, typically she'll see first the comments talking about um, how he's in the wrong. But if you send it to a
Yeah.
man, he'll get the comments. And you'll see if you scroll down far enough, sometimes they've got thousands of comments, so you might never see. But if they've got like a few hundred comments, you could scroll down and see the other comments, but that's not what Instagram's showing you first.
Isn't that gross?
Yeah,
It
absolutely.
grosses me out that that is what this weird machine brain is doing to our
Hmm.
brains.
Hmm.
What we see, how we think about stuff. Ugh, oh man, I need to not also just like not read comments either.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, no,
yeah,
that's
just
dangerous
stay.
territory.
There are some posts where I'm like, oh, I'm just here for the comment section, but yeah, I mean, occasionally the internet is a funny, funny place. I
It,
love the humor sometimes,
yes.
but yes, it does get a little gnarly
I
sometimes.
think that's
But
why I
yeah.
like Threads so much because it's so much easier to um like cater your algorithm.
Oh
And
yeah,
I wish Instagram
yeah,
would let you do that because I'll do like not interested, don't show if when I'm scrolling through reels. And then
yeah.
like three reels later, I'll get the same account. I
It's
was like, I just told
it's.
you. I
I
like
literally don't want to see this.
yeah, I
Yeah.
gave you like several videos chance and you're showing me this again. Whereas if you like, so I was really big into Rings of Power. I know it's controversial. I know
Okay, I loved it. I'm all for it.
okay, and I
Yes,
don't judge me. Sauron's hot.
I know. It's a whole thing.
I
Have you seen it on Threads?
Yeah, that's all I've seen on Threads in the last 2 weeks. Like I spent one day because I just have it on my personal account just to like, you know, keep keep the connections trimmed down as much as possible. But all I really post about on there is TV. because I'll binge. I'm a big binger.
Oh, me too.
And so the shows where I'm able to watch weekly, so like I was posting about Agatha all along, and then the next day Rings of Power came out, and now my feed is just Rings of Power, and I'm not mad. I'm not
Oh
mad.
no, the that thirst trap in particular, I think I clicked on one thing and then exactly the same. My entire feed is this material, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is amazing.
Yeah.
Yes, I will look at this all day.
Yeah.
Yes, I would not like to look at anything else. And Agatha all along, oh my
It's
gosh.
so good. Okay, this goes back to, I will say, because I did get, and I'm not proud of it, I did get into an internet tussle with somebody because
Uh-oh.
it was the 2 episodes ago when Alice overcame her generational curse, which was
Yes,
such a beautiful emotional episode.
agree.
And I posted about that. And of course, I'm getting people engaging who are like, that was so needed for like children of immigrants, like children from people of color,
Hmm.
just children from like abuse situations. Like it was such like a loaded episode.
Hmm.
Um, loaded in terms of like the weight of that single episode seemed to like mirror the weight of the previous like 5 episodes.
Yeah.
Um, but I got the one guy because I think in the post I said it made me cry that episode. I got the one guy, of course, who posted or who commented like, you should seek medical help. And I was just like,
Uh,
if this show's not for you, you don't have to comment. You can just engage with content that you like, and threads would be a much more enjoyable experience for you. And I think it's because some people just want to be angry. Like they are actively engaging with content that makes them angry because then they're able to keep up that anger. And I'm like, first of all, you definitely got some kind of like undiagnosed something
Yes.
because
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm
that is,
sorry you can't feel feelings. Like I'm sure you have a lot that are doing like really terrible things to your nervous system right now because you
yes,
won't let them out.
like I felt bad that he, and I say he because I know it's a he, and I know if people are gonna go looking, he blocked me after a while.
Oh, you went at it then.
I did, and it's because, well, first of all, he has like
Good.
a
Good
review
on you.
company or like a review blog, I guess, where he posts reviews of TV shows and of movies. And I was just like, at one point, I was like, I can't imagine how cruel or how bad your reviews must be because if you're not feeling, like, how can you
What
be?
is even the point?
What is
Yeah.
the point? Like, what is the
What's
point if
the
you're not
point?
feeling? It's art, and I get that like outside of my circles, it's that's not always the consensus. It's like TV is art, movies are art, and you can agree with
100%.
Scorsese if you want about Marvel is like not art, but it's like sometimes they
I love
are.
Marvel.
Yes, and also like Agatha is one of the best performing shows, and that's not debatable. It is, and it's on record in multiple locations saying that it is because they're saving money because they're doing practical effects. And so they're able to really, really maximize what they're doing. And you could see that again in this episode specifically was such a good example of that. And I was like, why would you go out of your way to be mean when all of the other comments here are talking about other people relating to what I've posted? Why don't you just go post on people's
Because
accounts
he
who agree?
only a whole person can feel their feelings,
Yeah.
and he clearly is cannot like he does.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's I mean it's such a projection
It is.
thing.
And I was happy, right? Like when I realized he blocked me, I was like, yeah, I won.
Yeah, get out of here.
Yeah. That means you win the battle, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, 100% you won.
And then, once that high settled, I was like, damn, that guy's got to just have like such a sad life. If he's doing reviews and he doesn't seem to like emotional things from movies and from TV shows, and he spends his time attacking people on the internet. And I found out that he was also attacking several other women on the internet. And I was like, wow, that's not surprising at all.
You have nothing else going on,
Yeah.
and you're yeah sitting there just saying mean shit to people
And it's
online.
specifically a
It's
threat to him that like women were feeling big about shows and about movies. I'm
yeah,
like, that's just
yes.
sad for you.
And he probably didn't see himself, or he's probably incapable of seeing himself in Agatha.
Hmm.
just the show in general, like a character that he like identifies with, and
Yeah.
so then he has to knock it down if he can't see himself in it. But it's also like really demented that like he can't, like, because it's all women or mostly women
Yeah.
in the show, that you can't relate. So you can't relate because the actors are women. Like you can't,
He
that's why you're not feeling anything.
he's also on that note, he specifically called it an old wine aunt show. And it was because in episode, what
Oh,
was it, two, where no, three. Episodes one and two mixed together in my brain, but episode three, when they are in the beach house and they're drinking wine.
yeah,
And I was like, it's not a
yeah.
wine aunt show just because they drink wine.
No, but they also made a joke about
That
that.
was like that
Like
was the point.
that was the
Like,
point. You're
yeah.
missing the whole point.
And I'm like, damn, he must really have bad reviews. It's just straight over his head.
Yeah.
And so I was
Uh,
like, oh, this is just like a sad person. And I think
yes.
going back to what we were originally talking about, which is that's why sometimes when it's like, I'm not saying that I feel sorry for them or that like I pity them because of like some power dynamic. I pity them because they clearly just something in their life has told them that they're not allowed to feel.
Yeah.
And that's not fun.
That's not existing.
Hmm.
Like that's not like I'm not sure what we're doing here, even if
Yeah.
it's not feeling,
Yeah.
and having emotions, and even if they're hard ones, like what's even the point
Yeah.
of being here? That's why we're here, and that's the point of art, and that is the point of stuff, is to guide you through that. And he clearly, maybe we should send him a poetry
He lives in the UK. I'm not gonna spend that money, but
book.
and also he blocked me on everything. So I can't,
Good,
yeah.
good
Yeah.
riddance, good riddance. But I hope that he finds peace with something. I hope that
Yeah.
he, because I think actually at some point or another, probably not online, not a lot of
Mhm.
us are maybe online saying negative things, but like I've been the smaller, shittier person in some
Oh
situations
yeah.
in my life. Like
Yeah.
I have been probably that person, maybe without even realizing it. And I mean, trust me, I have like the guilt. I'm like, there's a small portion, of the day, probably every day, where I'm like, man, I hope I wasn't, I hope when I was an asshole, I hope that person I was an asshole to forgives me for being an asshole, because there was something probably deeply wrong with me at that point,
Yeah, like
and
I think about the same things, especially like, times when I was younger and I didn't know any different.
yeah,
And I'm like,
yeah.
God, I hope they hate me enough to like be better, if that makes sense.
Yes. Oh, 100% yes. Yeah,
To like,
totally.
because I think kids can be cruel.
Oh, horror, the worst.
Yes. Yes.
Like I literally don't have kids, not mostly because, but like when I witness kids, I'm like scared of them. Like
Yes.
I'm scared. I'm scared of children. They're so mean to each
And it is 100% like,
other.
they're navigating so many hormones and
Oh yeah.
like I think about like Mean Girls isn't that far off from like what we think our
No.
experience is at that point. I think it really captures that.
Yeah.
Um, but then, your frontal lobe fully develops at like 25, 26. And I remember around that time is when I started to think back and I was like, oh, I was mean because they had something that I was jealous of. And I don't
Yes.
mean like, a lunchbox. I mean like they were experiencing life in a way that I viewed as like a threat to me.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, I can't do anything to fix that now.
Yeah.
I think that's
Yeah.
the beauty of like growing up is now I can at least know when I need to step back.
But some people don't. That's
Yeah.
the other catch.
Yeah.
Some people never get there. And it's, yeah, and, but then it's those people that are then like, 70 and 80, and they're just like, oh my gosh, what is my life? And I'm
Hmm.
like, thank goodness I'm a basket case now, because,
Yeah.
it is like, I feel really confident that like, I hope that I treat people with respect and kindness, I hope, and I will have weak moments for the rest of my life.
Yeah,
We
that's
all
human.
will have weak moments. Yeah,
Yeah.
100%. But being aware of the fact that you're you're coping or
Hmm.
how you're surviving is to hurt other people, like that's when it becomes like a real issue, especially
Yeah.
for adults on the internet.
Yes. Yes. And I think like I hope that I've got the confidence in myself to not see if people are coming up to me and be like, "Hey, I didn't like that." To at least be able to see that it's not like an attack, if that makes
They're not
sense.
attacking you.
Yeah.
Yeah. If somebody took the time to like come to you in like a, even tempered,
Hmm.
yeah, be like, I think that, I took this to mean this, and,
Hmm.
maybe you didn't mean it that way, but this is how this made me feel. Yeah, that takes a ton of
Oh,
strength
God.
to be
Yeah.
able to, oh my gosh, that's why we have like, whether it's a failed relationship or a crummy
Hmm.
relationship with a family member, or like, whatever it is in our lives, like we kind of, I think, for lots of generations got used to sweeping stuff under the rug.
Yeah.
And now we're at a point where we are like, hey, I'd like to talk through this.
Hmm.
And I'd like to, and yeah, and then being able to like hear it and actually like change,
Yeah.
I know, hear it and change and practice it is like
Yes.
this whole other beast,
And it's,
altogether.
I think the myth is that like you should just be able to do it. It's like, no, it actually comes with a lot of anxiety to be able to do that. And
Totally.
to think that there wouldn't be anxiety involved is what's stopping you from being able to do that because
Yeah.
it's loaded with it.
Loaded.
Yeah.
I know. It's so complicated. I mean, just being a human is so complicated,
Hmm.
and existing in our society, especially today, and in our social networks and on social media,
Hmm.
and in all of these things. And I don't think a lot of people give themselves enough credit for, hey, I was just a fucking human today. And that's another huge lesson that I, learned writing stuff and working through my own stuff, that it's just like, man, it sometimes it doesn't feel good to be here, and it doesn't feel good to be in our bodies, and it
Yeah.
doesn't feel good to, in all of these like societal webs, and like, um give yourself more credit
Yeah.
to that you're being human is rough.
Yeah. Yeah, it is.
I say that whenever I look at my dog who's sleeping in her bed right now,
Got it good.
having a great day. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But yeah, just we need to give ourselves a little more grace and a little more patience,
Hmm.
and credit for stumbling through this mess
Yeah.
here on Earth.
And I think a lot of it goes back to like this myth that like the healing is just a, an upward climb. It just happens like that. But I think, you know, you take a little step and then you have to incorporate that into things. And, maybe it's like an upward spiral because, yeah, you're going in circles, but it's because you have to, it's not just learning the lesson, it's actually like in integrating it into things. It takes time to like
and
unlearn some of
and the
those.
lesson, yeah, and the lesson is changing as you're going, and you're
Yes.
braiding stuff in
Hmm.
as you're going, and it's constant.
Yeah.
It's overwhelming,
Yeah.
100%. And like you said, healing is, gosh, are we ever, or
Oh, it's just, it's constant.
people talk about it like it's a destination, and I don't, I don't think it is.
Hmm.
I don't know if you're ever healed, because you've changed, what you're working with so
Yeah.
much, that is it even like, yeah, I mean, it's a deep topic, and I don't want to be offensive to anybody in their healing journey, and whatever, but or sound negative, like you'll never heal.
It's,
That's not what I'm saying. It's
it
just like
it feels like a lifelong, like road trip. And occasionally you have stops that are really, really good.
yeah,
But then, the context change, your life changed slightly, and you have to figure out how you're gonna do that again
yeah,
with new parts, with new elements. Yeah.
yeah. Agree.
Well, and this is a
Weird.
good book to help touch base on some of those stopping points.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I hope so. I hope so. It's interesting to hear what people take away from it. People have different perspectives, and I think that that's the beauty of it is interpretation.
Hmm.
Just people point stuff out all the time that I'm like, oh gosh, like I didn't even mean that, but if that's your takeaway,
Hmm.
awesome. Like go with that because so yeah, I mean, words can just talking about these shows that we love and like Lord of the Rings and Dune actually and Star Wars, these
Hmm.
are all these are like comfort shows to me
Yeah.
and Marvel movies too. Are comfort things. And it is, I'm not saying that there's like an insane dialogue, to anything or like expertly written, blah blah blah. But like it's a comfort movie. It comforts. I hope that this is a comfort book
Hmm.
to people. I mean, that would be the dream. Is that maybe it comforts somebody because we all go to outside and it doesn't necessarily have to be a person all the time. Like for me, it's totally movies
Hmm.
and TV shows.
Yeah.
and some books. Like I'll still re-listen to Harry Potter occasionally just because I'm
Well,
like,
and
oh man,
there's something comforting about the hero's journey. Like integral to the hero's journey is that like underworld period
yeah.
before they emerge. Um, so I think, yeah,
Because we're all him or her or
yes.
whatever. We're all,
And
yeah.
then
And it's all one story. It's all the same story with all of these
and there's something
stories.
so invigorating about, like Frodo and Sam realizing that they're not gonna like what they think is the end of their journey isn't gonna be a return trip.
Yeah.
And they go through and they do
They're
it
not going
anyway.
home. Yeah. All right. Let's stick it out. Let's
Yep.
keep going.
We've come
And
this
it,
far.
yeah. Oh, I want to turn it on right now. Okay. Wait. Did you like The Hobbit?
The movies, okay.
Oh, uh-oh.
Okay, so I love the book, and I just don't think that I think the movies were trying to recreate the original trilogy, Lord of the Rings, 2001 and everything. And so I just don't think it translated as well. That being said, on their own, they're fun.
Okay. I didn't read The Hobbit. Read Lord of the, okay. So maybe I need to do that because
The the
go
book
ahead.
itself is super super thin, easy read.
Super thin.
Well, compared to like
No,
Lord of the Rings, yeah.
I know.
And
I know
it's
that are
really
like
like
weapons.
a fairy tale kind of story. And it's so funny to me when I think about the fact that like Tolkien built the rest of it around The Hobbit because that is just it's such like a wildly different tone, absolutely different tone than um Lord of the Rings.
Other question. Have you watched Tolkien the movie?
No, not
Gosh, what's the actor's name?
Nicholas Hoult.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Yes. Okay, you haven't
I
watched it?
haven't watched it. I know like I really, really want to, but
I'm excited for you.
I took a Tolkien class in college, and so
Oh,
like I
you
got
did?
yes, and so there is a fun fact that I always love to tell, which is that when he was writing The Hobbit the first time, this is actually a two-part fun fact. So when he was writing The Hobbit the first time, he didn't know how to write battle scenes. He wasn't experienced enough in it to like be comfortable publishing something with it. And so he actually knocks Bilbo out at the beginning of the battle, and he wakes up at the end of the battle. So
Oh,
we just get the after effects, which is part of the reason, like in the
yeah.
movies, I was like, oh, Bilbo wasn't here for any of this.
What?
Yeah.
Okay, now I feel like I have to, yeah, now I feel like I need to like actually okay, go on. Tell
So
more.
in the original edition, there's a different exchange, and I haven't read it yet. I just know that it existed and I need to read it at some point. But later, after he published The Hobbit the first time, he realized that the ring that Bilbo gets it holds more weight. And so I think it was in the original version, they do some kind of barter or something, and Gollum gives him the ring. Later on, he's discovering, the muse is shining down upon him and he's fully writing this all. And so in a like published version, there's a foreword from Bilbo saying the original version was what I had previously told Gandalf, but this is the real version. And it's where it specifies that Gollum is actually like very stressed about losing the ring. Yeah.
Whoa. I didn't even know that there was like a republish thing
Yeah, and
that
I think it was
happened.
just like a couple of years later, and so now everybody just uses that version minus the forward because
Oh,
yeah.
interesting.
So it's very difficult to get the first edition. And I'm sure you can find the original, like a manuscript or like a PDF or something.
Yeah, it's
Um,
got to be online somewhere.
yeah. But yeah, so he changed it because after a while he was like, this is the connection between like
This is the whole thing.
this is the
Yeah.
thing. Yeah, exactly, exactly.
This is the connective tissue.
Yes, yes. And so like I love the fact that he had the forward from Bilbo. Like it adds this kind of like meta level because like the book that they're writing is Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
Um yeah, so I love that little like world building element of it.
Okay, so does your knowledge of this, are you scared to watch Tolkien the movie because you're like, I think that it's gonna make me sad somehow that it's not like true,
It's
or
gonna make me sad because like I know and not in a like I know and it'll be wrong, but like in a seeing the influence of war on the writing. And I know his family tried to argue that like the war wasn't that much of an influence, and I just don't think that could possibly be true with one of the like most harrowing recent wars in like human history.
wait.
There was like
Are you
they put out
the
comments about how like the war wasn't that much of an influence on him, something along those
wait?
lines, and I just don't think that could be true.
But the whole okay, wait, I shouldn't say that. I feel like that's a spoiler, but I think that the opposite of that comes through in the movie.
Yeah, and that's what I mean is like I know that I want that. And that's why it's
Oh,
gonna be
okay,
hard
okay,
for
okay.
me because like that is just like such an emotional element of
Oh
all of
yeah.
like it being
Oh, I
created.
wept. Oh
Yeah.
yeah, you're gonna
Yeah.
yeah, you'll
I
yeah.
wanted to see it in theaters because I could like in the trailer you could kind of see where there was like overlap happening, but nobody was as into Tolkien around me at that point, and I was like, oh, okay, that's fine.
When was that? Because I
This
don't
was
remember this coming out. I like stumbled across it,
I mean,
on whatever streaming thing it's on.
this was just like when it was coming out. And I think it was just I saw like a trailer or two a couple of weeks before, and so it wasn't like well marketed. It's definitely
Yeah.
niche, and so I could understand.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
totally.
Um, so I do at some point want to watch it.
Oh my gosh. Okay, can you call me when you
Yeah.
watch it?
Yeah.
I swear to God, I need for you. Yes, I need for you to fill me in when you do eventually see it. I want
Absolutely.
your take
I'll
on it
probably
because I
honestly
own it. I bought it.
oh, that's okay. You need we need to be having less digital media and owning things more because things disappear and then we
Because it's
don't
a
have
comfort
them.
movie for me. Yeah, that's another. It's not like one that I watch as regularly as other things, but like I immediately after watching it was like, I'm buying this. I need this at my fingertips
Hmm.
when I want it.
Hmm.
Where are you, by the way?
I'm
Are you
in
in California?
Phoenix.
Oh, you're in Phoenix.
Yeah.
Okay, okay,
We don't
okay.
do so like with the scheduling stuff, we don't do daylight savings time here. So I usually just say Pacific time or Mountain time, depending on the time of year.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
gotcha.
Because
Okay,
I learned very quickly that people just assume Mountain time all the time. And it's like, no, I'm actually an hour
yeah,
behind Mountain time right now.
yeah. Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, because with the scheduling, I was just like, oh, I guess she must be on the West Coast somewhere. But yeah, okay, it's
Yeah.
good to know. Phoenix,
Yep.
cool.
It's hot.
I'm in Wisconsin,
Oh, nice,
so
nice. I grew up in Michigan, actually, though.
oh, where?
Um, like right here.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wait, is that Detroit?
A little bit.
Oh
Like
no.
Detroit is like
Yeah.
kind of like right here. I'm like right up here. Very,
Oh,
very
okay, gotcha.
close. So
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so you're a Midwest
yeah.
gal.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Cool.
This has
I
been
spent 15 years in Colorado, and then my husband and I just moved back here
oh nice.
in May. So I've been
Oh wow,
away.
recently,
I've
recently.
been in the West for a long time, and now we just got back to the Midwest, and we're loving it. So
Nice. So did you move from there? Are you from there originally?
no, from Chicago originally. That's
Oh,
why I knew that Wisconsin, like I would never go back to Illinois. No offense, Chicago, I love you, but Wisconsin has this like very special place in my heart.
okay.
It's lovely and magical and green and water everywhere and
Hmm.
and I love it. So when we after I was in Colorado for 15 years, I was just like, I got to get back to the Midwest, and I think Wisconsin is my jam. So
Yeah.
that's where we landed. So
Um, yeah, I don't know that I want to stay in Phoenix very much.
if you ever come back, look me up.
I, the Midwest, given the current climate, events we've been
I
having. The
know.
Midwest looks much better than it was a few
I
years ago.
know. Yeah. I mean, I know that this is a total tangent, but it got to feeling in Denver like, man, there could be like a really real water crisis here, just like environmentally. Like it
Yeah.
felt like things are on fire constantly. And like it's just, and now we're here in this like lush, green, wet environment. And I'm just like, oh, it just feels very alive here and stable kind
hmm
of. So,
hmm
so yeah.
Um, Definitely after like the destruction of Asheville was when it kind of shifted my like idea of what I was considering safe,
Yeah.
which is like the fact that it was kind of just, I don't want to say day and night because like things have been happening for the last 20 years leading up to
Right.
this, but it felt like a switch was flipped.
Yeah. To where it's like, you can't, I don't, any, even not even on a coast.
Yeah.
Even things are so bonkers that
Yeah.
it's just like I love being tucked in up here by a Great Lake and just like in the woods and in
hmm
the middle of farms and stuff that I'm just like, okay, I feel okay here. And we have well water and we have just like all those
Yeah.
things that are just I don't know. I don't look forward to what the next 20 years will
Yeah, no.
will bring, but but if you move back, look me up.
Okay, okay. Right now, I am thinking if I move out of Arizona, it'll probably be back to Michigan, potentially.
I
Um,
learned that there's a boat that goes from Milwaukee to what's right, is it like Waukee? No. Anyway, there's a boat that takes you right across Michigan
nice.
to Michigan.
That makes
So I'll take the
sense.
ferry. I'll take the
Okay.
ferry and cross and see you if you go back to Michigan.
Yeah, yeah, let's do it. Phoenix just had like one of the hottest months on record. Not that like it wasn't above average in terms of like, we'll reach like 120 during peak summer. Yeah, I'll let that sink in.
120.
Yeah. It's a dry heat, and I hate that now I actually say that because it does make a huge difference up until
It
about
does.
110, 115.
Yeah.
120, it does not make a difference. But we should have been under 100 degrees for the last like 3 weeks, and we had a heat wave that just kept extending. And so we were staying in the hundreds, and I was like, I can't, I can't do this.
You're withering.
Yeah.
And everything around it. Yeah, just to see how it affects the animals and stuff like that. Like
hmm
bizarre. I always when we would have like a very late like spring storm in Colorado and like all the birds would die and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It feels apocalyptic. It like truly
Yeah.
feels like this is not normal and I don't like the way it's affecting my surroundings. And your environment is so important. I
Yeah.
have learned that the hard way that like, yeah, feeling comfortable and happy with your environment is like a huge
Yeah.
thing for sure.
Especially like the flora and fauna aren't designed, like I say designed, like,
No.
but they aren't genetically made to
Yeah.
have like as far as their bodies are concerned, they should have had water, they should have had cooler temperatures already. And so
Yeah.
that's really stressful because it's like the environmental impact of an event like this is actually going to be terrible long term.
Yeah. Horrible.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. You guys don't have fires, do you?
Oh yeah, we do. So
Oh, you
Phoenix is
do.
in like a valley, so there's like multiple mountain ranges kind of like closing us off. But in the mountains and then like, kind of slightly past the mountains where like the elevation is a little higher, we get trees and everything. And so there'll be like full forest fires. And so you'll see it's all flat. And so you can see, the 50 miles to the White Tanks Mountains. And you'll see like the flames, or not the flames, like the smoke rising over.
Smoke. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting because I guess I don't hear about that. It's funny. Only some fires get picked up. I think
Yeah.
you only hear about it, from the media. That yes, we hear about California or we hear about Colorado sometimes or whatever. But like, there's a fire in Wyoming. I don't hear about it. If there's a fire in Arizona, I don't
Yeah.
really hear of it. So it's just interesting that like I would not have known that before you said that there's fires there for sure.
I'm pretty sure one of the fires that we had in the last several years was one of those like gender reveal fires, like set by, because
No,
yeah, because you know we get the people out here like
those.
firearms and they like explosions, and it just takes off because there's these little compact things with aerosol, and they decide to blow them up. I'm like, do you not understand how this
Please.
works?
Oh my gosh. I don't know what I prefer though, things that explode or the people that are releasing balloons into the sky. I'm like, please stop doing that.
Just
They
cut a
like birds
cake.
get stuck in the oh my God, just cut a fucking
Yeah,
cake.
just like feed everybody at the party, have a cake.
I know. I hope this trend goes away. I can't stand it. I
Yeah.
know. It's horrible. I know. I hate that. But
I also can't imagine being one of the kids from, because it wasn't like the only time that it was a gender reveal party that like started a fire. Because I've heard about
yeah,
them in other states, at the other
a
locations.
ton.
Yeah. I'm like, imagine being one of those kids and your dad is still paying off the fine that he accrued because he had to tell everybody that you are a boy by shooting a live explosive.
Oh my gosh. Or maybe you just don't tell the kid, but like it lives online. It's living
It
online
is.
forever somewhere, I'm
There's
sure.
no way around it. They Google
Yeah.
themselves once, they Google the last name, and it's like, oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Oh, this is my legacy.
Exactly.
Ugh.
All right. This was very fun.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for having me. This was an absolute blast.
Thank
Oh
you
my
for
gosh.
coming on.
I want to do it again.
Yes, absolutely. If you decide to have a second child, you are welcome back on the podcast. I don't want to push
I
you.
will. Oh my gosh, I would love to. And yeah, if you ever find yourself back in the Midwest, I want to watch Tolkien with you.
Okay. Okay. I will probably watch it soon, and then I will almost
Please
certainly like
email me.
live.
Please call
I'll
me.
email you, and
Yes.
then I'll probably be like live threading it because it'll just be crying emojis,
I know. I'm going to follow your
timestamps,
threads
and
right now. I didn't know you're on threads, so I'm going to follow you right now so that I
it's
can
not the
keep up with you.
podcast account, so I'll send you like my personal
Oh, please
account.
send
Yeah.
me the personal.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay,
Perfect.
cool. Well,
All right. I love you. Thank you so much.
yes, of course. I love you too. All right. Thank you.
Talk soon, hopefully.
Yes, yes. Thank you,
Oh, sorry.
everybody.
I'll let you deal with
No,
it.
you're good. Everybody for joining us today. If you are looking for Clumsy Beauty, you can already find it. And then tell everybody where they can find you.
So my Instagram handle is JK Kennedy Writes. And then JK Kennedy Writes is .com is also my website, and there's links to the book on both of those, but you can also Google it, or you can type it into Amazon or Barnes and Noble or wherever you get books. It's on all the major vendory pages. So that's me.
Awesome. Well, that's it. So I hope you all have a great rest of your day and happy reading. Thank you for joining me for another episode of In Bed with Books, a bookish podcast for bookish babes. Make sure to like and subscribe so you can keep up with all of the latest updates. And if you have any suggestions for authors, books, or topics that you want to hear about on the podcast, then feel free to DM me on Instagram or shoot me an email. I'm wishing you a lovely rest of your day, and until next time, happy reading.